Good morning, everybody. Holistic Travel Guy here. This morning I'm in my backyard garden, and today I'm going to talk about how to germinate seeds from scratch from the package. And you can see I've got all my stuff laid out here, all my materials, my seeds, my soil, my pots. And we're going to get started over here by showing you what today's forecast is. Here in Sarasota, Florida, June 24th, 2022, the temperature is forecast to 95 degrees, dew point 78, which is basically the humidity. And the heat index with those two factors combined is going to be close to 112 degrees here in Florida today. So it's not ideal germination weather, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. But for now, I'm going to get started by showing you what inspired me to create today's video. I got such a nice post from a channel called Life is Messy, but I'm learning as I go. And the comment is from an earlier video featuring my little baby watermelons, which is in another video of mine. And the comment says, "This is a fantastic update of your beautiful garden. I'm just starting to harvest the first fruits and veggies from my garden. I love to learn from other gardeners like you. I appreciate the information you shared. It's helped me a lot. I also post garden videos. I hope we can connect and keep learning from each other." So I was so inspired by that comment. I already responded. Thanks so much for your kind comment. You've inspired me to make so much that I'm creating a seed germination video this morning. So that's what today's video is all about, germinating your seeds. Now, you notice all the seed packages I've got out here. I'm never going to use all of those seeds before they expire. And just so you know, they do have expiration dates, which are printed on the back of each seed. So this lot I bought in October of 2021, and that's when you want to use it by 12/21. You can see lot packed for December 21. You want to use it right around that date. But I've also had good luck with using seeds that are even up to a year or even 2 years old. So I want to quickly show you where I got those seeds from. On Amazon, right here, I bought the package. The current price is $21.99, and I think last fall I paid like $16.99 for them. As you probably know, everything in the world has gone up in price since last October, including the prices on Amazon fluctuate not just month to month, but day to day. I've seen price fluctuations that are absolutely crazy, ridiculous on Amazon day to day. So this was a package of 50 assorted seeds and they're also claiming to all be heirloom seeds. Now that was a great bonus, the heirloom seeds, but also the main reason I bought these is because they're all stamped non-genetically engineered. So none of these are GMO, genetically modified or genetically engineered seed. They're all stamped with that on the back. So that's the seed that I've decided to get. And quickly I'm going to go over to, I'll go back to Amazon in a minute to talk about the fertilizer. So the most important part about any kind of gardening is the soil. The soil, which I'm mixing here in the bucket, I start with a basic organic, usually an organic flower and vegetable garden soil, and then I mix it with a little perlite and some organic manure of some kind, usually cow manure, which I already threw out the bag. And then I will add this fertilizer right in with the soil, because one of the reasons I bought this specific fertilizer is because you can mix it right in with the soil. So it saves you the time consuming of adding it to the water each time you water your plants. You can just add it to the soil and it breaks down slowly, and it promises it will not burn the plants when applied at the above rate. So that's a great bonus. I just add it to the soil, and I'm going to show you the ratio that I use right now. Just reach in there, grab a handful, sprinkle it in the bucket of soil, and just mix it in. And now I'm going to fill up today's pot that I'm going to start right here. Yesterday I started dill and butter crunch lettuce in this pot, and I started romaine lettuce and red Jim chili peppers in this pot, and I started lavender and beets in this pot. Now I've never had a lot of luck growing beets in a pot, getting them to mature, but the beet greens do come up abundantly, and I just harvest the beet greens and eat those in my salad, or I'll actually steam the beet greens, and they're very delicious and nutritious. So I'm not expecting to get a harvest of beets from this planting, but I will get some beet greens probably. Keep in mind these temperatures though. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So I've got my soil mixed. Now I'm going to bring my pot down for today's planting, which is cherry tomatoes, which I love tomatoes, especially cherry. Again, they're heirloom variety and they're guaranteed non-genetically engineered. Now, quick note about seeds. The depth of your seed is very important. We're going to get that in a minute. Here's a little bucket of rocks for the bottom of my pot. You can put rocks in the bottom, little stones or little bark chips, anything that's going to help promote good drainage. So you can see the rocks down there. It helps to prevent the roots from rotting at the bottom of your pot. Now we're going to scoop a little bit of that soil into there and fill it almost to the top, not quite to the top. And this soil, again, is quite a mix of stuff that I've been soil I've been collecting and mixing together for the last year or two. So now we're almost full in our soil, and now we're going to tamp it down by tapping it there on the picnic table. And now we got room for a little bit more soil, actually. Now again, you don't want to fill this all the way to the top, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Tamp it down again, like so. So that's about a good level right there. All right, so let's get to the planting depth of the seeds now. The planting depth of seeds is different for every seed package, every seed variety. And you can see all the instructions about how to plant are on the back of the package. You want to read this package thoroughly to learn more about not just the planting depth and the spacing, but a little bit about the plant as well. So what you can expect from how long it takes for this to germinate, how long before you can harvest. All that information is right there in the back of the package. Now, in general, the smaller the seed, the more shallow the depth. You can see this seed indoors is 1/4 inch, outdoors is 1/2 inch. These are very small seeds compared to your corn seeds, which are very big. Your planting depth gets deeper. You have some seeds that you need to plant a full inch, and I've even seen seeds that you have to plant 1.5 inches or even 2 inches. So just to give you an idea, there's the size of the corn seeds. They're actually a kernel of corn. So in general, again, the bigger the seed, the deeper you want to plant those. So we're going to go between 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch here on our outdoor pot of cherry tomatoes. We've already got it opened up. Let's put the camera down so we can use 2 hands here and go ahead and sprinkle a few seeds in our hand. We're going to go for about 20 cherry tomato seeds this morning, and there they are. And now we're going to sprinkle those around on the surface of the soil. You don't always get 100% germination rate. I got a little bit more than 20, so I'm going to actually put some back in the package. But now I've got about 20 sprinkled around. I want to move them around so they're more evenly spaced, so they don't get too crowded next to each other. Now I know this might look a little bit odd that I'm starting these seeds in a big pot like this. Typically, you want to start seeds, most people start them in a 4-pack or a 6-pack, a small, and then they transplant them to bigger pots when they're mature. I like to skip a step when I don't have a lot of time in my life. I'm working a lot right now, so I'm going to skip that step of transplanting, and I'm going to go ahead and put these right in the pot that I hope to grow them to mid-maturity, and I will transplant them into bigger pots in time. But I'm skipping one step of transplanting. go ahead and reach in our bucket, grab a handful of soil. And now again, we only need a little bit of soil because we're only covering these a half to a quarter to a half of an inch. And now we're gonna go all the way around this top of these seeds. That's enough soil. And then gently pack this down with your fingers, very gently, not pressing firm. We just wanna press these down gently. So it's a nice, flat, even bed of soil with our seeds about a quarter to a half an inch deep. Okay, let's go ahead to over here to page 2 of our tutorial today and talk about some of the specifics of germinating plants. Generally, most seeds, both vegetables and flower seeds, you want to germinate around 70 to 85 degrees is the ideal temp. Whoa, wait a minute, but you said today's going to be 95. Yep, that's true, plus a heat index of 112. So I'm not expecting full germination from these. I'll be lucky to get a quarter of these seeds to germinate. Now again, I planted a ton of beets and lavender seeds in here, a bunch of lettuce, peppers, dill, and lettuce over here. So if I get 20-25% of these seeds to germinate, I'll be happy. Partly because of the high temps. It's typically going to be 90 to 95 every day for the rest of the summer and even into the fall here in Florida. So ideally there are many plants that will germinate in lower temperatures, especially things like peas and carrots and lettuce. You can put those into the garden. You can just throw them, a lot of those you can just throw on top of the soil and they'll germinate in March or even sometimes in February. Anyway, the soil, you need to have it well drained and you want to keep it moist. This is a very important part of seed germination. Now, I watered these seeds I planted yesterday. As soon as I put them in the ground, I watered them last night before I went to bed, and I sprinkled them again this morning as soon as I woke up. So now that we've put our cherry tomato seeds into our soil, which is right there, I want to gently water. I don't want to disturb the top of the soil. I want to gently water so that this soil is saturated at least on the top couple inches. And so the seed will have an opportunity to germinate without disturbing the top soil. I don't want to disturb the depth of the seed. So if you got a sprayer, like a bottle spray or a gentle sprinkler on your hose, you can water it that way as well. You don't want to overly disturb the top of the soil while this is germinating. I believe the cherry tomatoes have a longer germination time. It looks like 14 to 18 days. So that's not too bad. 2.5 weeks they'll be germinated. Whereas something like lettuce is going to have a quicker germination time. 7 to 20 days. Wow, I'm surprised it says 20 on there. I've had lettuce seeds come up. In fact, my last batch I planted a couple months ago, which is now all gone. I had those come up in a day or two. I've had seeds sprout before. All right, let's move on to where to put these plants. Now, after you made sure that they're moist, 2 or 3 times a day, you want to check them to make sure the soil is moist. You want to put these in the shade, not the sun. Now you can see some of these are already in the sun, and I've got to move them soon because the sun will heat up the soil temperature way above the germination rate. Remember, we want to germinate 70 to 85 degrees. In this case, we're going to be closer to 95 today. But definitely don't want to get above 100. So if we leave these pots out in the sun, it'll get 100 degrees or higher, 120. And we want to keep these in the shade. So I'm going to put them under the picnic table when we're done. And then last is the pH level of the soil. Each plant has a specific pH of the soil that it likes to germinate and grow in. And every plant is different, but in general, most vegetables like pH in the soil between 6 and 7.5 pH. You can get a soil tester on Amazon for about $18 for a pH tester. I didn't get one, but I think my pH is pretty good because I always get a pretty healthy germination of my plants. So that's about it for today's germination update. If I missed anything, you want me to cover anything in more detail, please let me know. Again, there's the seed packages I bought on Amazon. It's currently $21.99. Gives you a nice variety of heirloom, non-GMO seeds. And I hope this was helpful. Again, feel free to post any questions or comments in the videos below, and I'll address them as soon as I can. Again, there's my fig tree transplants from the other day, from a couple days ago. I'm hoping those grow up to be healthy fig trees so I can plant them at my friend's farm in Asheville, North Carolina. So we'll see you up there, our next farm update. Have a great weekend, everybody.